Hey everybody, welcome to the UC Recovery Podcast. My name is Ryan Henry with UCHRA. This is Justin Cantrell. He's our Regional Overdose Prevention Specialist with the state of Tennessee. Justin, what's up, man?
What's going on, Ryan?
How you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah,
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having
Why
me.
don't you share a little bit of how you got to where you're at?
Okay, yeah. Well, I came from a broken home. You know, both my parents struggled with addictions. My grandparents took me in around the age of 10. A lot of trauma, a lot of abandonment issues. And I found myself using marijuana for the first time around the age of 9. Didn't really wake up that day and think I was going to be the best weed smoker in town, right? So I beg to differ when people think addiction's a choice. I think I got a choice today, but at 9 years old, I didn't know what a choice was, more or less, whether marijuana was going to be safe or not for me to use. And it just led me down a path of addiction for the next 22 years. And that's why I kind of beg to differ when people talk about addiction being a choice, because I didn't wake up that morning and decide that, I think I'll wreck my life for the next 22 years. That sounds like a great plan, you know?
Yeah.
So that just grew in my life. By 12, I was just dealing with a lot of hopelessness, brokenness, just trying to fit in, I guess, and avoid reality. My reality wasn't what I wanted to be seen, and it just led me down a path of addiction. And by 12 years old, I'm pretty much experimenting with anything that you could think of. By 16, tried IV drug use. Really wrecked my life at that time. Destroyed my sports, school, you name it. Relationships, friendships, just everything in my life at that point was just kind of a wreck. Back up about a year, I lost my best friend in a car accident. So I never could deal with, I guess, the harsh reality of things. Today, I'm grateful for my recovery because it's allowed me to work through that process. I got coping skills today. Nobody talked about coping skills growing up. We had to be tough and not cry,
Yeah.
And so by 20, I experienced my liver shutting down from long-term drug abuse. I spent 2 weeks in ICU here in Cookville. And that just drove those lies deeper in my life. My unworthiness, nobody ever loved me, nobody, have anything to do with me. You would have thought that would have been a turning point in my life, but I just believed those little lies that was being whispered in my ear, and I just dove deeper into my addiction. By 23, I caught a 14-year prison sentence for manufacturing methamphetamine and selling delivery of Dilaudid times 2, and thought my life was over. They offered me 60 years. And really, that's where I met people.
Did you say 60 years?
Yes, sir.
Goodness.
Yeah. Wound up with 14.
Wow.
And that's where I met people like me, though, incarcerated. And they loved me. They encouraged me and told me they was just trying to scare me, just to hang on. And they would, look after me because most of them was my parents' friends, right? Because they'd been in and out of jail all their life. And so they did. They looked after me in that 18-month span. First got incarcerated on seemed like a lifetime. But eventually I got it worked out with the courts that I got to go to Arkansas for a faith-based treatment for a year. So I had like a year split confinement on that deal. And I had to complete that program there in Arkansas. And I just couldn't let go of my people, places, and things. I thought I was missing things out there in the streets. I thought I was missing the people, and I couldn't wait to hurry up and get out of that situation to get back home. And within 2 or 3 months, I was relapsed. I relapsed and violated, and had to spend a little bit of time during that time as well. I think I got around 5-6 years done on that 14-year sentence, in and out of treatment, jails, incarcerations, violations, things like that. And eventually, the 13th District here in Putnam County started a recovery court program, and it saved my life.
What year was that?
That was 2014.
Okay.
I got introduced to that program. I think I was the 4th or 5th client coming through that program. I actually helped build it from my mistakes. Took me 5 years to complete that 18-month program because I didn't want to listen. I thought I knew it all. I was a tough guy, class clown on top of addiction and chronically relapsing. Luckily, Miss Holly Royston, the probation officer, she played a big part in my life because I didn't like authority. I didn't like to be told what to do. And so she sat me down the last time I'd relapsed, and she said, Justin, I see something in you that you don't see in yourself, and I love you. And nobody ever really told me that besides my grandparents my whole life, you know. And coming from an authority figure that I thought was out to get me, it just changed my life.
Yeah.
They sent me to Morgan County. I stayed in Morgan County Residential Recovery Court Program for the next 15 months of my life and just worked on myself there with my counselor every day, worked the steps, got a sponsor, and had a spiritual awakening as a result of it. And completed that part of the program. Came back here to Putnam County and lived here for about a year at Bobby Van Hooser's house over there at Priority House. Stayed there a pretty good while. Found me a good job with Thatcher's, and their foreman would come by and pick me up for work every day and drop me off until I got on my feet. It's the first time I had my license. I obtained a license what time I was there, and probably 5 or 6 years, you know. Then I was able to save up and get a car. Eventually, the Recovery Court program allowed me to have a home plan, and I got an apartment over here in Cookeville, and I lived here for about 6 years, rebuilding my life what time I was here. And the best decision I ever made by staying and rebuilding here. I love Putnam County. It's a big part of my change, just changing my people, places, and things. And during that time, I would take the weekends to go visit my family, and I'd go to church on Sundays. And the Lord came to me on one Sunday and told me to take everything I'd learned and start a support group, and that's now known as Overcomer Support Group. It's been going for about 7 years now. Now I wholeheartedly believe me just being willing that day to go to the altar, talk to the pastor. The Lord's just opened up many more doors in my life.
Where you guys meet at?
We meet at Elizabeth Chapel. It's at 1850 Allens Ferry Road over in Smithfield, Tennessee, every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Tuesdays at 5:30. We provide a free meal on Tuesdays. So we start at 5:30 just so we can have that food and fellowship time. And the meeting actually starts at 6, ends at 7, unless, you know, people get to talking, the Spirit gets to moving. We'll stay all night if we got to.
Right.
And it's just been a blessing to be a part of that and just start that there in that community, because for the longest, I think around 29 years, they just had an NA meeting that kind of struggled at times. You know, they had to move around a lot for different reasons, things like that. And it's been a blessing to start that, because now other churches in that community is like, hey, what do y'all got going on? And we get to go over and help just educate, train, build up. And now Outreach Baptist Church has one, and Refuge started one, and
Wow.
now Free Will Baptist is now starting one called
Wow.
Failure to Faith.
That's awesome.
Just off of me being
Just
willing.
a seed, right?
Mhm.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And in doing that, we done a resource fair one night, kind of where you grab all the vendors you can and just expose who does what in the community. And actually, Miss Suzanne Angel and Kobe Lane came and set up the table for overdose prevention. I was telling my story that night. And shortly after that, Kobe had decided he was going to move on from this position and felt like I was the guy. I struggled with that forever because I was just so used to working where I worked, you know, as far as construction. I thought I couldn't do any better. I was kind of the fear of the unknowns of, you know, just trying something different.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, too, I've got my CPRS, which is a Certified Peer Recovery Specialist. I sat on that for about 3 years, wondering, you know, why'd I even take it, because there was not many opportunities. Yeah. And then, like I said, Kobe came along and shared this vision with me, and I've been doing this probably a little over 4.5 years now.
What is a regional overdose prevention specialist? What do you do? What's your day look like?
So it's different every day. That's why I like it. You know, we cover the Upper Cumberland area. There's about 24 regional overdose prevention specialists across the whole state, and we're kind of like a resource hub. We want to know who's got the food boxes, who does this. You know, our main thing though is to educate and train people on how to save lives, and we give life-saving tools, Narcan, fentanyl testing strips, Zazine testing strips, all kinds of resources.
Yeah, what you got here?
These bags, if you ever see these and you see a lady using it as a makeup bag, you may want to stay away. She could be high risk. But inside them, you know, you'll have a kit. It's 4 milligram Narcan, 2 doses, nasal spray. All kinds of resources are also inside this as well. this is the best part about it, I think, and just having the interaction with people like me across the state. Because we just don't hand this out and say, go have fun, use again. Like, we actually pour these resources into people. We got a card in here. It's called Promise to Call. The state has started that a little while back, and it's just got some information on the backside of it to where you can put that you're going to promise to call, because suicide is a real thing, and we want to try to prevent that. You will also see a certification of completion through the state of Tennessee in mental health and substance abuse. If you ever take a training, we'd love to come out and train you guys. We go anywhere from the dope house to the church house to the schoolhouse, anywhere that you think we could go to get this information. All you'd have to do is just give us a call, and we'd be more than glad to come. We've got a little decal sticker you can stick at your office, on your car, just bring awareness and let people know that you do carry Narcan. And, of course, my contact information's inside that bag as well. You're welcome to give me a call for just about anything. Like I said, try to be a resource hub. I try to connect people and fill gaps in people's lives, whether it's detox, treatment, housing. We work alongside our care coordinators and also our lifeliners here in the state. If I can't get you plugged in, I'll refer you to one of them guys, and they will. If you ever have to use your kit, if you get a kit from us, you can always call. No questions asked. It's always confidential. We will meet you somewhere and get you another kit. I will have a couple questions, though. Like I said, it's confidential. Male, female, what county, did they live or survive? How many doses did it take? You got a card, You Overdose Now What card inside there. It's full of resources, detox, treatment, options, things like that as well. We got a guide in case you ever accidentally get exposed to fentanyl. It'll walk you through. Main thing is always wear gloves. Wash your hands with soap and water. Don't just use hand sanitizer. Also, we're all on equal playing ground when it comes to an overdose. Whether you're a doctor, a nurse, or somebody like me, signs and symptoms is the only thing you got to go by. And I'll go quickly over what those signs and symptoms are, because it's very important. If you ever run across somebody that has pinpoint pupils, they could be falling asleep or losing consciousness, slow heartbeat or stop breathing, or even slow breathing. Choking or gurgling sound, also known as like the death rattle. If you encounter anybody with those signs and symptoms, they could be changing in skin color. Lighter skin turns bluish purple. Darker skin turns gray ashy. First thing you want to do is put your gloves on. We provide gloves inside every kit as well. And then we want to, if we feel comfortable enough, we want to give that person a shake. If you know them by name, call them by name. If you don't know them by name, just give a good scream, kind of like a, hey, you doing okay? You're scaring me. 9 times out of 10, if you verbally warn somebody that's using an illicit substance, which is street drugs, 9 times out of 10, if you verbally warn that person, hey, Ryan, you doing okay? I've got Narcan. They will give you a response because they do not want this. So that alone tells us that they're not having Narcan parties. We actually train people to be responsible. No different than the alcohol commercials we see every day. It's just stigma on substance that we got to face. Like they encourage you to get a designated driver with alcohol. They encourage to drink responsibly. But when we encourage to use Narcan and designate a Narcan person in your group, it then becomes like an issue, it seems. But there's literally no difference besides the stigma on the substance out there.
Who should take these trainings?
I believe everybody should take them, because most people don't realize you can administer this from the age of 2 years old to 200 years old. If you meet a 200-year-old, please call me, because I want to take a picture. But yeah, why would you give it to a 3-year-old? Because accidental overdose happens every single day. As soon as kids pick something up in the floor, it goes right in their nose, their ears, their mouth. All the time, you'll get kids at the hospitals trying to get pennies out of them, Legos out of the nose, right. Things like that. And so substance is no different, and it doesn't have to be like a household that is battling with substance. It could be that your 3-year-old gets to go over to Granny's house, and Granny's not an addict, but she just had hip surgery, and she's got some hydrocodones on the countertop, and the kid could accidentally get inside them. 3 to 5 minutes is all we're working with. If a person is experiencing overdose, they could be either dead in 3 to 5 minutes or become a vegetable for the rest of their life. And so I encourage all people to carry Narcan, because the 80-year-old, they accidentally overdose too. They mix their medicines up. They may double take medicines. They forget. I'm just hitting 40 and I forget if I take my blood pressure or not, right? 40 more years, there's no telling what all I'll forget. Right. And so there again, it just keeps the community safe. And also it lightens the load on our first responders, law enforcement, EMS, all those folks as well. If we all get trained, carry this, and be equipped in our community, it will lighten the load on our first responders, law enforcement, and such as that.
How much does it cost for a training?
It's totally free. That's the cool part about it.
Is there a certain number of people you need to have in the training?
I'll come for 1 or 1,000 or more. It doesn't matter.
Okay. And UC Recovery, UCHRA, we're working to build an ecosystem, a recovery ecosystem, and one piece of that is harm reduction. Is this part of harm reduction, or is harm reduction, what is harm reduction?
So harm reduction is a bigger picture of maybe what this could be. This right here is just to prevent overdose from happening, overdose prevention. Harm reduction's got a lot of other factors in it, like your MAT, your SSPs, things like that.
What's this? What do
Okay.
those mean?
All right. Yeah. So MAT is medical assisted treatment, and it looks like maybe like your Suboxone care, things like that. SSPs are your service syringe programs that happen in your bigger cities, to where they can go and meet people in recovery or trying to give resources to a better way of life, clean tools, things like that. And so the bigger cities like Davidson County, they will have their regional overdose prevention specialists to maybe go over and work an SSP so that they can be hands-on and make sure that those folks have those tools. And that's where a lot of the xylazine testing strips and fentanyl testing strips come into play as well. Because we know all people's not willing or able to stop their drug use. And so with knowing that, we got to meet people where they are and love them unconditionally to see changes happen in their life. Once again, we just don't give this out and say, hey, that a boy, that a girl, go wreck your life. It's that when they do come, we actually give these resources. We provide that love, that care, and we try to point them to detox, treatment, housing, whatever it may be. Kind of like the ecosystem you're building here.
Sure. What you work in the streets a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What's the landscape like now in addiction and recovery? Has it changed since your days of running in the roads? Or what's it look like now?
Yeah, most definitely. Today, most of our drugs are being imported and pill pressed and things like that. Back in my day, we kind of formed it ourselves and developed it. And so actually law enforcement and the government done a great job pushing out backyard meth cooks in their community, because it was a huge problem, not taking up for that whatsoever. But what's happened was over the years now it's being imported, and we have absolutely no clue what's inside these substances. There's actually over 3,000 different analogs of fentanyl coming through the United States. Tennessee's only detected about 27 out of those 3,000. I mean, you can find it in anywhere from like vapes, marijuana, to pills that you think that you're going to get a Roxy, but it's been pressed. Yeah, it's pretty much laced in everything. Polymixed substance. You know, for the first time ever in the history of America, people were doing methamphetamines and never waking up again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's the big difference, is that we don't know what's inside these drugs today until autopsy reports come back, urine tests, blood work, things like that.
What are some challenges to being a regional overdose prevention specialist?
I think the biggest challenge for me personally is just carrying everybody's burden, you know, that you meet personally, you know, like just carrying the weight of, you know, when you got mothers calling you, just begging you to get their kid in the detox treatment or some type of help, you know, it's that's probably the biggest burden I have, is just carrying other people's, you know, situations in life, trying to get them to where they need to be.
What have you seen to be maybe the main ingredient or the thing it takes for somebody to have a successful recovery for them?
Just speaking from my personal experience, it took a spiritual awakening in my life. That's not the route everybody takes, but for me personally, I had tried everything under the sun, and it was when I surrendered my life to the Lord and had that spiritual awakening. And in return, it's about meeting people where they are and showing them that love, that grace, that unconditional love, to where, you know, you're not pushing things down their throat. You're leaving the door open for them to figure this out a little bit, and you're guiding and trying to direct them in a positive way. Because recovery has got many different pathways, you know. And for me, it took a long time for me to realize that. My first 2 years of sobriety, I was kind of like a NA Nazi, if you will, you know. It has to be this way, you know. It's got to be this way. But over the years and the trainings and the things that the state's given me as far as trainings and education and just having real life conversations with people has really opened my heart up to being able to meet people where they are, so that I don't scare them away, you know. Right. If I'm trying to be too pushy, demanding, it'll send them back out. So I just try to be, you know, graceful and meet them where they are at.
What's actually drives overdose? What is that? Just a plethora of opportunities to get drugs? Is it just flooded the streets? What do you think drives this overdose?
I think that's a good. I think that's probably the most thing, is just the opportunity and availability is there, and you don't really know what's inside your substance, and so that's why it's important to be trained and have the tools. If you are using, I really encourage you to get a hold of us, so that way we can get you these tools, because you absolutely don't know what's inside of it. Everything's just so polymixed today. I think there was like 2,973 stimulant deaths in the year of 2023.
Say that again.
2,793, I believe, stimulant deaths. Wow. And so most of the time...
It's across the state?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, across the state. Most of the time, you know, you wouldn't expect fentanyl to be in your cocaine, crack, or methamphetamine, or Adderall, right? Right. And so that's the big thing, is that people are going out and trying to feel better because they're sick, they're dependent, and it's taking their life. For the first time ever, too, you know, you got the curiosity killing the cat, for the lack of better words. You know, you got, I don't know if you guys have ever been curious, but I was a curious kid, you know, growing up. I would get curious about something, I'd try it. And today we have 13, 14, 15-year-olds overdosing, having panic attacks and everything else off edibles, vapes, and other substances that they're getting a hold of out of curiosity, and it's taking their lives, you know.
What about the gas station drugs we hear about, Kratom, mm-hmm. Delta 8? Are those things put somebody at risk of overdosing?
Oh, yeah.
Or tell us a little bit about what you know about that.
Most definitely, you know. Once again, you don't know what's in it. You know, it's at a gas station, and it's easy access. Unless they're actually IDing everybody that comes through, you know, it's easy access for any age to walk in and get it. Hopefully they are IDing and doing their job and preventing that in some type of way. Thankfully, they've got it off the streets, you know, working towards getting the kratom off the streets, because it has caused a lot of people to be sick, dependent, and in some cases it's caused overdoses.
If you were to talk to a family member or a grandparent, or even a mayor or something like that, what would you tell them, a practical tip or things that might help them prevent overdoses?
I would just say, you know, reach out to us, Regional Overdose Prevention Specialist, so that we could get plugged in with your organizations, churches, schools, town hall meetings, whatever, you know, however we could get this information out there and bring these trainings. We have trainings anywhere from like the 8th grade to 80-year-olds, you know.
What's the most recent training you've done?
I've done a brief training for the Monterey Police Department. They had called out all the pastors that they could get out to like a town hall type setting, and so we did a brief training, just an overview of our program, which is called Tennessee Save a Life. And with people like you and myself that take this training, we've now saved over 115,000 lives. Wow. That's just not numbers. That's like fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, grandpas, grandmas, kids. You know, that's real people. It's just not numbers.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories behind those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
If you could change one thing in our region to reduce overdose, what would it be?
I'm not so sure about, I guess, changing anything, but just bringing more education, awareness, getting plugged in more, because I think we're headed in a good direction in our region. I want to say we got the best region across the state, you know. But yeah, just getting out there more, getting plugged in more to places, churches, organizations, things like that. Just getting this information out there and making sure everybody carries and feels good about carrying it too, you know.
Here's the question that trips everybody up. Can you give us one thing that about Justin Cantrell that you can't find on a resume or a profile?
Well, I feel that I'm gifted today, and I've got a purpose and a plan today. And I feel that I would want people to know that I'm loving, caring, understanding, respectful, and just try to give my best each and every day.
Yeah, I can believe that. I've seen you do it.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, how can somebody get a hold of a regional overdose prevention specialist?
So my number is 931-854-5768. Welcome to give me a call anytime. Like I said, I'd love to come out to wherever you send me. I'll go wherever you send me. And, just give me a call at 931-854-5768. Would love to meet you and your people and get this information and resources out in the community.
Sweet. Hey, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.